A great ritual, the Link, appeared one late night, buried deep in one of the darkest corners of the deep web. Matthias had scrolled through dozens of forums, hunting obscure legends, but this one was differente. Ancient layout, posts in long-dead languages, corrupted images. Its name, the Circle of Voices. Amid unreadable text, he found an incomplete transcript of a ritual called the Seance of St. Bartholomew. The opening warned that the summoned spirit hated being watched, and that recording it could bring irreversible consequences. Later, a short, chilling note. The blood must be fresh, and plenty of it. Matthias didn't take it seriously. He'd seen 100 similar tailies. But something about that phrase triggered an instinctual alarm in him, which, as always, he ignored. His YouTube channel, Urban Summoning, was known for staging seances and fake paranormal content. With Amanda, Dennis, and Rafa, he'd filmed in abandoned homes, graveyards, and crumbling buildings. It was all scripted, planned, but views were tanking. The algorithm stopped favoring them. Their viewers were hungry for something more extreme. When Matthias brought up the ritual, there were no laughs. That was the kind of content that could launch them back to the top, especially if things went off script. Even if it turned out to be a well-crafted hoax, the ritual's atmosphere was dark enough to justify it. The instructions included carving symbols into the skin, lighting a candle made from human fat, and making an offering that had to be from the heart. The four of them agreed to film the entire session uncut, unfiltered. They wanted it raw, real. They picked an abandoned farmhouse near Jucutiba, rumored to be connected to suicides, cults, and forgotten rituals. Locals claimed even criminals avoided it at night, and that you could hear chains rattling, chants in strange tongues, and agonized groans from the forest surrounding it. It was the perfect setting. The night before the shoot, Matthias received a message from an unknown number. Make sure the blood spilled is enough. No sender info, no trace. He brushed it off. Arriving at the ranch, the gate opened as if it hadn't been touched in years. Dead branches, vines, and leaves choked the dirt path leading to the main building. A colonial shell, half swallowed by vegetation. The roof sagged. Every window was smashed. Inside, the air was thick with decay, a mix of mold and rotten wood. Footprints dotted the dusty floor. Some were too small to be human. Daylight barely filtered in, but they managed to construct their improvised altar using the forum's guidelines. A chalk circle was drawn in the center of the main living room, surrounded by mysterious symbols. Black candles formed an inverted triangle. In the center sat a small clay bowl meant to hold blood. Each of the four placed a deeply personal item in the circle. An old lighter, a childhood bracelet, a baby tooth, and a torn photograph. According to the ritual guide, these tokens sealed their bond with the entity. Burning any before the ceremony ended would be a betrayal. At first, excitement buzzed in the air. They joked over instructions, tested camera angles, tweaked the ceiling-mounted mic. But as darkness swallowed the sky and forest silence closed in, something shifted. The candles, once harmless, began to emit a dull, inconsistent glow. The chalk circle started showing thin cracks, as if the floor beneath it was giving way. The air grew heavier with each passing moment. A lone fly hovered, circling the altar. Their phones were switched off. No signal anywhere. The recording was set to start at midnight, exactly. Suddenly, the temperature dropped. The forest quiet shattered with a sound. Dry, like wood under crushing pressure, coming from the upstairs portion of the house. Even then, they did not stop. There was no turning back. Their scene was fully set, cameras rolling. All that remained was the blood. The recording kicked in at exactly midnight. A drop fell into the clay bowl. Matthias, having cut himself lightly, began the invocation. The others followed, each arm slitting, each drop added to the bowl. candlelight flickered unnaturally, as though an unseen breeze swept through the locked room. The atmosphere grew suffocating. Humidity became suffocating, like dense smoke. Rafa, who had appeared calm until that point, stumbled backward as if shoved by an invisible force. On the chalked floor, scorching marks appeared, not drawn, but burned, as though something clawed from below. The symbols, once still, began to twitch, quietly, like they were breathing. Cameras glitched. Horizontal lines distorted the image. The microphones picked up noise that wasn't there. A strangled moaning played in reverse, like someone sobbing inside the walls. Their personal tokens began to levitate slowly, swirling above the bloody bowl. From upstairs, footsteps, slow, deliberate, and dragging. No one moved. Time froze. The walls creaked. Floorboards groaned. But the sound seemed to come from their very bones. Candles extinguished simultaneously. The video feed remained, but warped. In a dark corner, something slouched. A dark-skinned figure, skin torn, as though it was a living torture victim. Its limbs were contorted, its neck stretched, straining toward their faces. Amanda collapsed, eyes wide open and unblinking. A trickle of blood ran from her left ear. Lips moved, soundless. Mathoys lunged to shake her, but he was repelled by an invisible barrier surrounding her. Her body shook, as if something bottled within was still struggling. Rafa bolted for the hallway, took 2 steps, and was slammed into the wall with brutal force. His head snapped, and folded at a grotesque angle. The snap echoed throughout the structure. The entity stood upright, now muscles taut and exposed, its face a patchwork of raw flesh pierced by rusted nails. Etched across its chest glowed archaic symbols, bleeding with internal fire. The air reeked of hot iron and rotting meat. Dennis froze in place, eyes locked on the creature. Slowly, layers of his flesh peeled away like aging wallpaper, shedding silently. No screams, just a silent collapse to his knees, arms raised as if begging forgiveness. In the camera's reflection, it looked like his soul drifted free just before his body hit the floor. The blood in the bowl began to bubble gently. Mathoys crawled toward the center, desperate to erase the chalk. But as soon as his fingers touched it, they disintegrated like reality itself dissolved. He began to laugh, hysterically, through tears and sobs. Laughing because he knew there was nothing left to do. The final camera still rolled. Moments before the feed cut, it captured Mathoys staring dead into the lens, eyes bulging, lips moving in a silent plea. The recording ended with a brief screech, then 33 seconds of static. That video was never released officially. The next day, the Urban Summoning channel vanished. Passwords no longer worked. Backups corrupted. Mathoys' inbox flooded with automated replies all titled, "Rejected." What was summoned no longer belongs in this world. Weeks later, a heavily distorted 14-minute clip resurfaced on a Lost Files archive site. No explanation, no traceable IP, just the broken footage. And the reports began flooding in. Viewers reported recurring nightmares of a flesh-hung figure chained to a bone altar. Others said the footage showed their own living rooms, images not there before. Some listeners said they heard whispers of their own names days after watching, always at 3:33 a.m. 3 cases made the news. Young deaths, eyes bone dry, staring at their computer screens. No signs of violence. All paused on the same frame. Mathoys, looking through the lens, lips forming one last silent word. Police never found the farmhouse. Satellite images show only dense forest, as if it never existed. Villagers said it was always strange there, but no one dared venture inside. Even today, whispers say the video still circulates in closed underground circles. It's used by thrill seekers wanting to test their limits. The original circle of voices forum vanished. A new mirror site appeared in the deep web, offering real rituals for those bold enough to try them. The spirit of St. Bartholomew, if that's even who it was not banished. It was unleashed, and now waits in some dark corner, in some forgotten server, somewhere between the living and the damned. It's still thirsty, and every time someone hits play, they bring a little more of it in. Would you have the nerve to watch that video all the way through? Do you believe one ritual could break open Hell's door in the real world? Which country's dark legends do you want us to dive into next? And hey, don't ghost us. Like, subscribe, and share with that friend who loves a real scare.